Good morning and welcome to From Recovery to Remission. My name's Linda, I'm a trauma recovery coach, and each morning, Monday to Friday, I come and share information with you to help you on your recovery to remission journey with complex PTSD. The more information we have, the greater we can help educate. We're the first generation of people with this information combined with scientific evidence. And so we bear a double responsibility to not only educate but also to communicate what's happening in our day-to-day lives with the people around us. We can't expect them to understand when there has been no language for generations. Now this morning we want to talk about helping our family and friends understand what's happening for us and how they can participate in our recovery to remission journey. Now, it is going to be different for everybody, and I am going to be talking some of the time about the perspective from the people who are family members so that they can relate, and also from our perspective so that they can gain insight into what happens for us and how to have the hard conversations about what we need, how they can participate, and everything in between. So I want to welcome all the family and friends that are here today that actually have the courage to come and learn something new. As I started off saying, this information hasn't been available. This is the first generation where the science is available, and then we're able to begin putting a lot of other pieces together as well. So today, as we focus on triggers, I want you, as the family or friend, to be aware of the difference in what being triggered means. So I want you to think of a time when, this is for somebody who, so first of all I want to address the person that doesn't have complex PTSD. So think of a time when you've been sitting down and you're listening to somebody on TV and they really get you go, like they really tick you off, and you have this overwhelming emotional reaction, and then you look around and you calm down and go, okay, I'll get a handle on this, and then short period of time later it comes up again and it really ticks you off and you feel like, oh, this person keeps triggering me, okay? That's normal, alright? It's normal because you want to go through a process of determining, are you going to do something about being so emotionally triggered? Is there a plan you can put into place that you want to, you feel righteous about? How, indignant even, how can they say things like that and get away with it? And you either pick it up and keep going over and over again emotionally, or you pick it up and you determine that you're going to take action towards making a difference in the world. That's not the trigger that someone with complex PTSD is talking about, okay? Your trigger is emotionally overwhelming at times. It's frustrating. You can actually put it into words, any form of language, whether it's verbal or non-verbal. So think about when you're triggered like that and you're going off, the people around you in the room, when you're going off, they get the message really clearly as to what's happening for you or what's upsetting you. And even if you weren't going off and you're running around holding all those emotions inside and you're really ticked off, people around you, just by implication, get the message about what you're feeling and what you're thinking, because it's just exuding out of every pore in your body, all right? So that's not the kind of triggered we're talking about. The kind of triggered that we're talking about happens at an unconscious level, all right? And then it has conscious results. So what will happen is, and this is from adverse childhood experiences in particular, that's the focus where I come from, is right back in the deepest part of our brains is a trigger, a fear mechanism trigger, that when all of our senses are engaged and our senses go, like remember the old Lost in Space program where the robot used to come out going, "Warning, Will Robinson, warning." It's like that, except it goes off like that. You have no control over it, and the next thing you know, the person with complex PTSD is broken down, and they've lost control of their whole physical body, everything, because the body is now in fight, flight, or freeze mode. And I know myself, I can be standing there talking to someone, next thing you know, without any conscious understanding or awareness, hi Diana, of what's going on, I can be perspiring and I know that my brain has been triggered. All right, so this happens in the deepest parts of our brain where we have no choice. If you haven't experienced adverse childhood experiences, when your senses become aware that there's a threat or something that's out of your control, your first response in the deepest part of your brain is, this can be managed. Right? You don't even think about it. It's so unconscious. This can be managed. You see what it is and you address it straight away. Well, we don't even get that opportunity because we've been wired to respond in survival mode. Now, what happens is, what does that trigger look like in the brain? Well, because of adverse childhood experiences, our amygdala, our emotional centre, it's like it holds all these fragments of memories that haven't been able to be filed away in the hippocampus. So the hippocampus is our filing centre. So those without CPtsd, if I said to you, remember a time when you felt alive and excited and you can still recall all the sights and smells and things, if you're eating food, what it tasted like. And as you recall this memory, it comes out sequentially, and the overwhelming joy of the time and what happened at that time, it's all filed away sequentially in our hippocampus, okay? When you experience adverse childhood experiences or trauma in childhood and it's repetitive, the memories don't make it into the hippocampus. They're still in the amygdala because they had no language around them. As a child, we have no language for what's happening to us. A person in power who's bigger than us is doing things that are not healthy. Probably a bit of an understatement, but let's just leave it there for today. And we have no language and we have no ability to file that experience away. And there's a whole raft of things that happen on the brain level, the neurobiological level. So what happens is when we get triggered as adults, the fear trigger in the back of our brain sets into place a whole raft of chemical reactions, okay? So the limbic system goes offline. So imagine you're sitting in front of your computer and your computer's only half working and you can't get things to work together, you can't get two apps to work together, then that's like saying it's offline. That's like what the brain is like. The prefrontal cortex, which is vital to help us put memories, experiences, day-to-day life, so much in order, is actually offline and can't connect into the limbic system, okay? So when somebody is in front of you and they're having a meltdown, the anxiety is overwhelming and they're saying they're being triggered, it's not because of emotions, okay? So remember your emotional trigger that keeps pointing, pushing your buttons. It's not like that. It's straight from the neurobiological aspect, and because our prefrontal cortex is offline, we have no way right in that particular moment to be able to either move or sit or whatever it is we need. We're just trying to get our breath back and hold on to our sanity in some cases. It's like, and we can feel like this is insane, I'm an adult, this shouldn't be happening, I should have control. But until we comprehend that it's unconscious, All right, it's not even subconscious. It's way back in the unconscious that it happens. Then we can't begin to move forward and work with it. So what does your special person need from you when they're triggered? They will be able to let you know, or they will be able to work with you when they're triggered. First of all, you need to know not what their individual triggers are, but what they need when they are triggered. Okay? Some people don't want to be touched. Absolutely. Some people need you to just sit beside them and just listen. Now, I can't explain to you how when we're triggered, all right, all the electrical impulses are running through our body and adrenaline's going everywhere, cortisol and so on. It's painful, all right? If you've ever felt electricity running through your body, it's painful, all right? And I've had this happen to me once when I was triggered, and I could feel it, and it is so painful. So one of the things your special person's going to need is, once the trigger's passed, they are going to need to rest, whether they like it or not, whether you like it or not. They have got to rest, because their body, even when they can't feel it, feel all the electrical impulses going through, their body is exhausted from it. It's like having run a marathon, all right? And you're just shattered. And there's no way that you can get your brain engaged to do the next thing while your whole system is shattered. So what you can do is ask them, right, what do you need when you get triggered? What would you want from me to help you when you're triggered? Is it just to sit with you? Is it that you need me to say, you're safe, I'm here and you're safe, and that's it? Maybe it's just repeating, I am here and you are safe. Now, what will happen is, for your special person, is they get to connect with you and they get to see that you're creating a safe environment for them. All right? The fact that their whole system is gone offline and you're sitting with them and saying, you're safe, I am here. Now remember, we can pick up the undercurrents of everyone. So if you're sitting there going, I'm safe, you're here, I'm safe, whichever way. Whatever the attitude is, unless it's coming from the heart, then you're going to be defeating the purpose of helping the special person get well. All right, walk away. I don't mean walk away from the relationship. I mean walk away and take some time out, because absolutely it's frustrating for you that this keeps happening. But healing happens in relationship, in interpersonal relationships. So if you can't be that person, then be the person that helps them find the person that helps them get through these challenges, that can create that safe environment that they can reach out to and say, I'm triggered, I've got to get my breath back. And we go into either hypovigilance or hypervigilance, and we're either go, and come out fighting when we're triggered, or we go into hypovigilance, which is everything becomes so frozen, all right? And one of our challenges with complex PTSD is to be able to be willing to feel how frozen our muscles are. That's just one level of not an exercise. It's one level of our experience that we get to learn to move through. Now, the interpersonal relationship is absolutely vital, whether it's with a therapist, a trauma coach, a mentor, a family member, a friend. It is vital to the recovery to remission journey, okay? Absolutely vital. Your special person with complex PTSD cannot do this on their own. We have to build community. We need it, all right, because our eyes, especially, if we don't get out into community and out into life, it goes to the neurobiological side of things. So our eyes perceive that nothing's changed around us, so we haven't been outside, we haven't gotten involved with other people. And it goes right back to into our brain wiring, and we begin to turn inwards on ourselves. And whether you get triggered or have complex PTSD, that principle, the neurobiological principle, that happens, all right? So if you don't get out into life, because we're wired to be social creatures, okay? If you don't get out into life and you don't get social on some level, all right, it doesn't have to be out into the social world and doing social things, but at some level. Heck, the beginning of my social construct, reconstructing everything, was learning that I could talk to the checkout chick again, okay? That I'm safe. And that is how basic it can be. You don't have to go and spend a gazillion of dollars. Get back to very, very basics about helping your special person feel safe in any kind of social environment. My daughter was my carer at one stage, and she'd say to me, "Mum, that's not how you treat people. That's what we've got to do this." And I didn't even realise I was doing it. I would never intentionally be rude to somebody, but because our perception is offline when we're triggered, so I'd go out in public, and the minute I'm out the front door, I'm having, the triggers go off. I have no prefrontal cortex, so focus engaged. And so all as I'm doing is trying to focus on getting through the one next moment. So I didn't realise that these things were happening. But because she supported me through the process of me being able to go back into the public again and being so kind and gentle with me and saying, "Mum, you realise you're doing this?" "No, I didn't even know." But now, long term, now we're at the stage where we went shopping the other night. She's not my carer anymore. We went shopping the other night, and I'm chatting away to the checkout chick and having a joke and everything, and she turns around and says to me, "Mum, you've changed." I'm like, well, to her I will have changed, but to me, I got me back. All right, so I feel comfortable to go out in that social environment. And we need to be willing, us with complex PTSD, we need to be willing to say, okay, going out, I need strategies in place to help me, all right? So if I have a meltdown when I go out, this is what I can do. This is how my family member can help me get through that. And this is what we can do together. And it's in the experience. I can't underline, it's not even reiterate, I can't impress enough upon you that with complex PTSD, the recovery to remission happens in experiential times, not through logic, not through emotions, but because we go and take in the fullness of a new experience, okay? And when we do that with other people, and we're teaching our brain, our whole wiring, that we're safe to do this, that's when we begin to see, and look, before I say that's when we begin to see results, we have to be committed to the process. We have to be consistent with the process, all right? And we can't give up on ourselves. And especially if you're lucky enough to have family and friends around you that say, "We want to support you. We want to get you back into the space where you feel safe socially," then sit down and have the courage to work together and laugh. Look, one of the greatest things that's got me through the hardest times in my life is laughter. Look, learning to laugh when I couldn't get up and walk, you would think, who laughs at that? Me. Okay? Learning to laugh when I trip over things, bump into things because the prefrontal cortex wasn't engaged. And, I'd have bruises up my arms, definitely all over my knees. My knees used to be so bruised. Learning to laugh when you forget things, like going through the McDonald's drive-thru at, some point in time, and I'd say to my kids, you can't all just go bang and tell me your order. I got no hope of remembering it. And I'd say we'd get to the speaker at the drive-through, and I'd say they'd have to literally tell me one thing at a time. And now it's just like, before we even get to speak, okay, who wants what? Because I was willing to put in the effort and laugh and go, oh my goodness, I know I'll get there. I'm not there yet, but I know I'll get there. All right, and now I am, in that, go through McDonald's drive-through or whatever drive-through you go through. Now I can do that, but once upon a time I couldn't do that at all. All right. And sometimes I cried about it too, all right, because it can feel so soul depleting and draining to not be able to do the things that we know we can do if we had some sort of normal wiring or normal brain. And sometimes I've needed to just sit down and get the box of Kleenex out, okay. I have a great relationship with a box of Kleenex, by the way. And say, sometimes I just need to cry at how damn hard this journey is. And that's okay too. Alright, I hope this helps. Keep the communication lines open at all times. We won't always get it right, the communication right, but what we do is keep being willing to communicate and go from there. All right. Thanks for listening today. Have an awesome day or evening wherever you are in this beautiful world, and I will see you again tomorrow morning. Bye for now.